There are 47 working pleasure piers in the United Kingdom today. This one was built in 1901 at a cost of £18,800. That's about £1 million in today's money. But which one is it and where am I? Find out in just a moment. On today's show, we're helping two workaholics swap the hubbub of metropolitan life for the soothing tones of the coast. They try to be positive.
We have quite a light, airy kitchen now, and that's where the family tends to congregate.
Right.
But it's got everything in here, it's functional.
And take an unexpected turn.
Although it might surprise you, in this house I'll be tempted to leave it just as it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I am in North Norfolk, and this is Cromer Pier. And there's been a pier or a jetty here for the last 600 years. And the previous one, which was half its length, was made of wood. And it had an interesting bylaw that stated that gentlemen were not allowed to smoke on the pier until after 9 o'clock in the evening, when it was assumed that all ladies had gone to bed. This modern structure is 500 feet long and includes a lifeboat station and the Pavilion Theatre, which hosts summer spectacles and Christmas shows. I'll be taking a walk along the length of the pier and exploring its history and heritage later on in the show. The low-lying eastern county of Norfolk, bordered by Cambridgeshire to the west and Suffolk to the south, was once, according to the Domesday Book, the most densely populated county in the land. However, nearly 1,000 years later, and Norfolk is now the 6th lowest populated county in England. It's estimated there are over 150 deserted Norfolk villages, more than almost any other English county. It's the peace and stillness of Norfolk's wide-open spaces which attracts many of the 31 million visitors to the county every year, enjoying nearly 100 miles of glorious coastline, 1,200 miles of gentle walking trails, and of course, the renowned Norfolk Broads, which since 1878 has been one of the world's most popular boating destinations. Horatio Nelson, historically one of our greatest Britons, once said of his home county, "I am a Norfolk man, and I glory in being so." As you can see, there's some really glorious property here in Norfolk. And as a whole, the county compares very favourably with England and Wales. The average price for a detached house here is £46,000 less than the national figure. Although, that said, it is a very big county, and like all counties, it has its property hotspots. And here they tend to be on the northern coast. The beautiful little Georgian towns and villages like Blakeney, Holt, Burnham Overy, and in fact Blakeney is the most expensive square footage in the whole county. Now we've got 3 lovely properties lined up for our buyers today, so let's meet them. David and Marie have lived in Wychbold, Worcestershire for the past 12 years, but feel the time is right to swap the bustle of everyday commuting with the peace and quiet of the Norfolk coast.
We live very close to the M5 and the A38. You do get used to it, but it can be quite noisy. It's really a commuter town, so there's not so much of a community feel that there would have been some time ago.
They'd always planned one day to move to the countryside, but David suffered a life-threatening fall, which forced them to re-evaluate.
It all came to a head last June, when unfortunately David had an accident, and that meant 4 months in hospital with quite a serious brain injury.
The accident, I suppose, kind of brought it home to me that I want more out of life. I want some of the things that I've always wanted to achieve, like living by the sea, like having dogs. And here was really the opportunity, and to keep putting it off no longer made any sense.
And during the last month in hospital, David agreed with his company to take redundancy, and that was kind of my trigger really to say, well, maybe it's time for me to resign and for us to head off to the sea. With the children having flown the family home, it was time to think about themselves. And it wasn't hard to decide on the location for their escape. We live in a village called Munsley, which is just outside of Cromer. And it's very peaceful. And to add to the very rural feel that it has, there's also a beach and the seaside on its doorstep. And the Norfolk coast will enable David to indulge in his love of sailing.
I always loved it. It's that sense of freedom. I want to buy a boat once I get to wherever we get to. Sun shining, nice day, bit of wind. Let's get in the boat and let's go out for the day. Fantastic.
Moving to the country would allow another lifestyle change they're keen to explore.
I was brought up with border collies, but I've never had one whilst I've been working. Now that situation's changed, I can achieve my original ambition, which is to get a couple of dogs.
And they have a good idea of what they're searching for.
I think our ideal property has a number of key components. Very much close to the sea.
Probably a minimum of 3 bedrooms, but we'd like a reasonable garden. We've got a nice central point to the house where we live at the moment, the kitchen and the family room being together. It's just important for us to feel, as it'll probably be our last move, that it's the right house, really.
So all that remains to be discovered are the finances for their coastal relocation.
The budget for the move is £325,000, but we are prepared to push higher than that if we get the perfect property.
Marie and David would like us to concentrate our search on the north coast of Norfolk, near to their favourite holiday destination of Mundsley. I met up with them on local soil to discover more about what they're looking for in their new property.
Welcome to Norfolk,
Thank you.
where it's actually snowing. Were you prepared for snow?
I think we recognise that this sort of weather is quite common, yeah.
We know a little bit about what you're looking for, the 3 bedrooms and the garden for the dogs. But I wanted to ask you more specifically about some of the things that are going to be happening as we look at the properties, particularly about style, because you haven't said a lot about the sort of style of properties you like.
I think we like both old and new, but I guess we like the inside to be quite modern.
OK. Is that shared, David? Do you feel the same way?
Airy, a sense of space and light in the house.
Well, for me, I prefer a single story, but that doesn't mean that we're wedded to a single story. We will look at others.
What are you willing to pay for the house if we find a house that's really perfect for you?
I think we're still looking up to 350. We'd also be happy to look at something under 300, but that we'd have to spend some money on, improving and making the house that we want.
Well, as we walk round, please feel free to see through those things and knock down walls in your head, and we can talk about compromise as we go along. We've got some lovely properties.
Great.
Let's go and see them.
Thank you.
Follow me.
Thank you.
For a top budget of £350,000, Marie and David would ideally like at least 3 bedrooms, a large kitchen or kitchen diner to accommodate family gatherings, a good-sized sitting room, a large dog-friendly garden, all in a rural setting close to the coast. We found 3 fantastic properties to show them, and at each one I'll be asking them both to guess the price before I reveal it. The last will be a mystery house, a home they may not have considered on paper, but which we think might take their search to another level. So time to get our property hunt underway.
You are moving from one side of the country to the other, and you've got children mainly on the west side, is that right?
We have one in Surrey, one currently in Lancaster but moving back to Birmingham in the summer, and we have one in Falmouth in Cornwall. So they're spread fairly well apart. And I think, especially with what's happened to David, it's time to make the choice for us now. We've seen the children through education and university. They've all got their futures mapped. So it was about us, and we've talked to them all and made the decision it's Norfolk.
We start our house search in the north of the county, in the village of Baconsthorpe, around 4 miles from Holt and 20 minutes away from Mundsley on the coast. To the north of the village lies the ruins of Baconsthorpe Castle, a moated and fortified 15th century manor house. All the essentials can be found in the nearby Georgian market town of Holt, as well as a unique array of curio and antique shops and galleries. Our first property is a 4-bedroom brick and flint period cottage surrounded by the unspoilt Norfolk countryside.
Let's pop ourselves here, because then we get a good view of the house. It's a splendid Norfolk cottage.
Okay.
And quite old. We're
Yeah.
thinking it predates 1780, but it's in this very typical kind of flint and brick
Yeah, very
style.
typical
Yes,
Norfolk, isn't
I
it?
like this style in Norfolk.
Yeah.
Obviously like to see a bit more of it. It has a very solid feel to it.
Yep.
You've got an outhouse here, which is also habitable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sort of muted, sort of cards to the chest sort of response to the outside, but generally positive.
Yeah,
Yes.
positive, nice village.
Let's have a look inside.
Okay.
After a somewhat 50-50 reaction to the exterior, I'm taking the bull by the horns, heading straight to a room that needs to play a central role in their new home.
So we're coming into the back of the house and into the kitchen. Now, this is obviously probably a bit small for what you were hoping.
It is small.
It is small.
It's quite low,
Yeah.
the ceiling, and quite small. We have quite a light, airy kitchen now, and that's where the family tends to congregate.
Right.
I mean, it's got everything in here. It's functional.
Just see through, actually, through the window next door, have extended out their kitchen.
Right, okay.
So there's a precedent in terms of planning for
yeah.
pushing out.
Okay.
So you could actually have a gorgeous big
Yes,
kitchen
yeah.
going out that way.
Nice
Yeah.
country kitchen, yeah.
I like
Yeah.
the sink. Is that, what do they call that? A Belfast sink?
is it?
Belfast, I think you'd be right at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like the floor as well.
Yeah, the quarry tiles.
tiles.
And actually, if we go next door, if you lead the way, the quarry tiles continue. You see, these are lovely quarry tiles
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Follows through, yeah.
So this would have been the downstairs of the cottage.
Yeah.
What do you think of this in terms of a dining room?
It's probably as big as the dining room we have at home, so certainly
Yeah.
our furniture would fit in here. The beams are quite low, but I didn't notice you hit your head on them. So
Just give them a little test here.
give it a test, David.
Just.
Oh, maybe you would. Oh no,
just make it,
good.
just
And
make
then you're confident, you see. Then you think, okay,
Yeah,
I'm not there,
it's not low for me.
mate. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. And then you've got a quite nice big sitting room. So come into the corner. They would have sunken the floor here because we went down some steps, so the ceiling feels higher.
A bit higher,
Yeah.
yeah.
What are your thoughts about this room? Because obviously this is all your downstairs with these three rooms.
Yeah. It's a lot lighter than I thought it would be, coming in from the other rooms.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a room that works. I think it's a nice room.
So there are 4 bedrooms upstairs. I'm going to show you the master.
Thank you.
They're still not dancing on the ceiling, but even so, a more positive note to take us upstairs.
So they're using this as the master. There's 2 doubles and 2 singles.
Okay.
This is in the middle of the house
Yeah.
and is most heavily beamed.
I would say for me, this is the biggest change for me in terms of where we are now, because we have quite a large master bedroom with the ensuite. So this, at this moment in time, just walking in feels quite small.
The first floor is completed by a double and 2 single bedrooms, all served by the family bathroom.
It is a historic home, and by that token, the rooms are more separated. OK, let's have a look outside, and then I can let you sort of explore the house in your own good time.
We've had a mixed response to the interior, so can the grounds deliver the required space?
It's quite a long garden. What's really lovely is that it just goes out into open fields at the bottom.
Yeah. Not overlooked at all, is it?
No. And you've got some raised vegetable beds, a little tool shed and compost heap at the back.
Yeah.
How important is the garden going to be?
It's important, certainly to me. Space for the dog and space for growing vegetables.
So how much do you think this is on the market for?
I guess it's hope more than knowledge, but I would say maybe around the 300,000 mark.
What about you?
But I'd have said about 280.
OK. So this is where both of you are going to have to sort of really kind of wake up to the prices around here, because this is on the market at 349,950.
Oh, wow.
All
Okay.
right.
So this is £50 short of your very top budget.
Yeah.
Which is quite high.
So armed with that unfortunate fact, it's always disappointing, maybe you have a look around and explore upstairs, because we didn't really have a chance to look upstairs.
OK.
So if you go in, and I'll meet you at the front.
Okay, thank
lovely.
you.
Thanks, Alistair.
Just creeping in under their upper budget limit at £349,950, this flint and brick 18th century cottage has 4 bedrooms, 2 reception rooms, the all-important kitchen, a good-sized garden, and a mere 20 minutes from the coast.
I was A bit dubious, really. I hadn't really thought of a cottage like this, but I've actually quite taken to the house now that I've been inside it. And then the garden looks to me like it's not quite as big as what I was hoping for.
When I first came in, I didn't get the feeling that the house was for me at all, but as we've spent some time here and looking around and thinking about how we could put our stamp on it, so Hetty's telling me that potentially we can make this work for us. My heart is saying, but will it be ours?
OK, time to leave. Well, actually, before we leave, I wanted to tell you a bit about this. See these stones, these napped flint stones?
Yeah.
These are remarkably similar to the ones in Baconsthorpe Castle, because it was very expensive to have this sort of finished flint.
Oh, right.
So you have a little bit of the castle, were you to buy this property.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's press on, more to do.
Thank you.
The beautiful Norfolk countryside with its sweeping vistas, pine forests and pastures benefits from a 1,200-mile network of trails traversing the county. Given all this walking potential and Marie and David's desire to acquire a lively set of dogs, we sent them to meet Michaela Smith of Beachside Agility and her two border collies, Harvey and Howdy, to find out about the UK's most popular canine sport, dog agility.
Hello, Michaela. I'm David.
Nice to meet you both.
Hi, I'm Marie.
So we're here today. We've brought you to Great Yarmouth, just on the Braden Water, to have a go at agility. So how does that sound?
Great, you were great fun.
How long have you been doing agility training with a dog?
I've been doing it now for 7-8 years, and I also do obedience as well. So I do both sports, and I really enjoy it. It's addictive.
And what kind of age do you start agility training with them?
There's a recommendation that you don't really start doing agility training until they're a year old. You can't enter competitions until they're 18 months old. That's
Right.
the minimum age that they have to be able to compete. So today we've got a course set out for you. So would you like to have a go?
I'd love to, yes,
Absolutely.
Okay,
please.
so off this way then.
Thank you.
Helen Anderson, dog agility winner at Crufts 2013, is here to show Marie and David just how to direct your dog as fast as possible around the course. The Border Collie breed was originally bred to herd livestock. With top speeds of up to 30 miles an hour and motivation to work in partnership with their owners, it's no surprise the Border Collie is the most popular breed in dog agility, with two of the last Crufts agility winners being collies.
That's really clever, the way she slaloms around those poles.
Yeah, that's called the weave obstacle.
Right, because it's the pace of the dog's just about synchronised with the gap that it's trying to get through.
Yeah.
Go, whoop, whoop, go. Go, whoop, whoop. Yes, go, go.
Now they've seen how it's done, it's time for Marie and David to discover if they're natural dog handlers.
Go! Tunnel! That's it.
Agility was first introduced to the UK in 1978 at Crufts, when a committee member was tasked to come up with a way of entertaining the audience. Back then, it was a largely jumping-style course resembling an equestrian show, designed to demonstrate dogs' natural speed and agility.
There were some nice bits in there.
Its popularity has significantly increased since, with around 400 dog agility competitions per year and over 600 agility clubs across the UK.
Lovely contact. Good boy. So, have you enjoyed that?
Oh, brilliant. It's been really good. Thank you ever so much for all your time.
Thank
You
you very
questioned,
much.
yeah? You questioned about
really
getting
good.
fit.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Harder than it looks.
It is definitely harder than it looks.
Marie and David seem to have been inspired by the idea of keeping active with Border Collies. Let's hope we can get them equally excited by our properties as their house hunt continues. For our second offering, we're heading to the pretty coastal village of Munsley, around 8 miles along the coast, south from Cromer. Before I reveal property number 2, I'm taking David and Marie for a stroll along the front to find out why this village is the #1 destination on their wish list.
So I get the impression you were getting quite excited as we pulled into Munsley, because this is a village you know well.
It is, yeah. It was like coming home, wasn't it?
What is it that you like about it?
It's a lovely size village with lots of local shops, so you don't need to go down to a big supermarket. It's got a lovely park here, lovely community feel, and the beach is fantastic for walking the dogs.
Your house is not far from here.
Excellent.
It's not right on the coast. We couldn't quite magic that up for you, but it's definitely in Munsley.
Brilliant.
Lovely.
Let's look.
Yes, please.
A short walk from the village centre lies house number 2, a detached 4-bedroom property with bags of period features.
So we can still hear the sea.
We can hear the sea, yes.
And this is property number 2.
Okay.
It is... Well, actually, the fact you may not know about Munsley is that it was the Norfolk home of the poet William Cowper.
All right, okay.
Right.
Cowper is written Cowper, and this is Cowper Barn.
Okay.
So it has history, and it's
Yes.
actually a 1930s construct on the foundations of the barn.
Okay. Yeah, that looks really nice. Really unusual.
I like it. I think it's really interesting. The interesting style of those pillars by the door. But the style of the house was nice.
Yeah.
Should we look inside?
Yeah,
Yes,
that'd be lovely.
please.
Yeah.
Its situation in Munsley means we're already off to a flying start, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed with the interior, as this is a property which offers potential rather than the finished article.
This is a good room to start in because you can see the 1930s sort of feel to it with these kind of 8-fold windows, the 8-pane glass windows, and you've got a log burner. So this is very much more open plan than the last one.
Yeah, it's really nice actually. I like the dual aspect because you've got light coming in from both sides.
Yeah.
And here you see this little alcove here. This was when it was a barn. This is where the farmers would have put their candles so they could see the animals at night when they were tending them.
It's nice. I mean, I like the thick walls again, which will mean it'll be a warm house.
Let's take a look at the other mirror room. So the other side is the dining space, but you have this lovely 1930s fireplace.
It's really nice.
Yeah, it's unusual. It's nice.
Is it a working fire? Does it still
Yeah.
work? Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
It would
yeah.
certainly fit our dining furniture.
Get people in there easily.
Yeah.
And again, a feeling of air and space in the room.
Well, let's look at the kitchen, because that
Okay.
is obviously
Okay.
important for you.
Thank you.
Well, the kitchen, once again, could be an issue,
Yes, it's very small.
because it's actually smaller than the last one.
Yes.
But there is options for extension.
The kitchen is mirrored by a utility area, and a toilet divides the two spaces. With the help of an architect, Marie and David could knock through to open up the whole area.
It's whether you could live with this as a temporary.
I think, to be honest, we could live with anything. There's only the two of us, and we were always prepared to look at projects so long as we could live in the house whilst we did it. You know, there's nothing that's not functional about it. It's just that we would tend to gather in the kitchen, come family room at home. But then you've got a large living space outside that combines the dining area with the lounge as well. So,
Let's have a look upstairs.
okay.
I'll lead the way.
After you.
David and Marie are seeing the possibilities, and so far we're getting a better reaction than in the first house. I'm hoping that continues as we head upstairs.
So come in here. This is what's being used as the master bedroom. But I think upstairs is something you definitely want to put your mark on.
Yeah.
Because there are 4 bedrooms up here.
Oh, good.
So another 4-bedroom house.
Yeah.
A little ensuite here. This has got an ensuite attached.
Yeah.
And then there's a family bathroom.
Okay.
Whether or not you need 4 bedrooms, or whether you'd like to convert one of those into, a bigger room, lots of possibilities of new configurations.
Yeah.
But again, if you were getting an architect to look at the kitchen downstairs, you may as well get them to look at other parts of the house. So a simple, plain, straightforward layout like this works for us.
So it seems like quite positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Vibes. Well, I'll let you explore, because there's actually quite a lot to look at. But let's go out
Okay.
into the garden and talk price.
It may be lacking a wow factor, but the house continues to deliver positive reactions as a potential project for David and Marie to consider.
Well, back from where we started. So now that we've seen inside, how does the property shape up?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yes, I think it's got a lot of potential.
We haven't really talked about the garden, David, and I know that that's your kind of department, and it is sort of noticeably smaller than the last one.
Yes, it is. Honestly, I think there's plenty of potential for tying it up and again putting our own personalities under the garden itself.
What about the price? Because it's right in the heart of a village that you love very dearly. It's a minute from the sea.
Yeah. I guess my starting point on this one would be more where the finishing point was on the last one. So I'd say 340 to 350, so maybe 347.
I'm going to go cheaper again. I think more like 320 or 330.
Okay.
Well, in this instance, David, your gut instinct is correct. This is on the market for 330.
That's okay.
So sort of split the difference between the two of you.
That kind of price would allow us to start the improvements that we'd be thinking of.
I would suggest that you go upstairs, because we really whizzed around upstairs, and actually there are some interesting constellations you could do upstairs, and maybe have a little scratch around downstairs to see if you could reconfigure that space.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
Have
do.
a look inside and I'll see you out the front.
Okay,
Lovely.
thank you.
On the market for £330,000, this 1930s property falls within their budget and comes with 4 bedrooms, a large dining room, a decent-sized sitting room, a manageable garden for David, all situated a stone's throw from the sea.
I do like it. I think it's got character. I think it's a little bit different. So I like it a lot. I can see myself living here. I think we'd both be very happy here. Frankly, what's not to love about this house?
Coming inside, it isn't exactly what we would have looked for, but I can see exactly what we can do to make it ours. There's some work to be done on it, so we can do that and make it ours, rather than move into something that's completely finished.
I love the hanging tiles. I'm not sure it's terribly 1930s, but whatever it is, it's a success. I was just admiring the porch. It's a very handsome piece of architecture.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Very
Especially
nice.
Imagine a nice sunny day.
Yes.
Hot.
Yeah. Hot, having afternoon tea out here.
Yes.
See, that's the sign you've already moved in when you're planning where to have tea. We can exit through the door onto the high street.
It's the second day of our house hunt in North Norfolk, with Marie and David from the Droitwich area in Worcestershire, who have £350,000 to spend on their coastal relocation. Coming up, we get the perfect reaction.
I could almost say it felt quite like home when we came in, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
That is what we like to hear.
And I brave the elements to discover an old seaside favourite.
Yesterday at the house in Munsley, one thing jumped out at me as being more important than they had let on, and that's proximity to this, the sea. Because even though that house was lovely, it was smaller, had a smaller garden, but the thing that they loved, I think, was the location. It was sold before they even entered the garden.
So we're going to be testing them with our mystery house by dragging them away from the coast in order to offer them space, along with access to the countryside they desire. For the mystery house, we're heading 5 miles inland from Munsley, close to the market town of North Walsham. Once at the heart of the 14th century weaving industry, the town is centred on the market cross, where people from the town and surrounding villages once sold their produce, livestock, wool and cloths. Many of the narrower shops still occupy their ancient plots huddled tightly against the churchyard. Our mystery house is a 3-bedroom barn conversion sitting just over a mile outside of the town, surrounded by stunning Norfolk countryside.
Here's the mystery house.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, it looks really nice. I love the setting, as we called it. Really like the setting. The sea's not here, but what a fantastic setting.
Yeah, you're about 4 miles from Munsley, so that's your nearest spot of seaside. So you can see it's a single-level dwelling.
Yeah.
It's a converted stable. It's part of a kind of series of farm buildings.
Yeah.
And the conversion was done back in the early 90s. And you can see that actually this little wing here and that wing here are new additions. The old part is the bit in the centre.
Yeah.
How do you feel about sort of a conversion of a farm building?
No, it looks from the outside, looks really nicely done. Looks in good condition and fits well with the area. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Good, so positive,
Yes.
Yeah, really
no
good
drawbacks?
feel. No, not at the moment.
Let's have a look inside.
A very promising start, and although set on one level, I'm hoping that this stylish conversion can still deliver the space they're looking for.
Come on through. This is the main room. You get a taste of the whole layout, really.
It's a nice, cosy room. Nice.
Yeah, this is nice.
So much light as well.
Yes, this is a triple aspect room.
Yeah, windows
Well,
on three
quadruple,
sides,
actually, if you
yeah.
can count this
the
window.
kitchen, yeah, very nice.
So you've got, as you can
Excellent.
see, a conservatory through there, which is south-facing, so that
Yeah.
gets lots of lovely sun.
Yeah.
It does bring the outside in, doesn't it? Having that flow of the window. That's
Yeah.
really nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it.
Works
So
for
clearly,
me.
this is a very different offering. It's
Yeah.
it's not a period property,
No.
not certainly by look, and it's all on one level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, the single level concept?
I'm very happy with single level because we wouldn't plan to move again, so I'll let my knees grow old here.
So it's a good vibe that you're getting.
Yeah. I like this.
Let's look at the kitchen. That's been a bone of contention in the other houses. See if it is here.
It's small and probably not much bigger than the others, but the light and the view actually make it feel okay. Feel fine, and you can see a conservatory out there. There's the potential to have a small sort of family table out there for breakfast and things.
There is actually right next door. There is a sort of dining room.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not huge, and all of these walls are stud walls, really. So you could actually take take that wall down
Yeah.
and open it up so that that's all just one big space,
Yeah.
Yes.
kitchen, sitting room,
Yeah.
or take this room down and have it as a kitchen diner on this side, which is the east side of the house.
Well, it might surprise you. In this house, I'll be tempted to leave it just as it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good. So it seems like this is positive as it is, without any
Yeah,
knocking down or
it is actually.
remodelling.
Yeah.
Great. I wasn't expecting that. I thought you'd be kind of like, oh, we need to push open these walls. Well, let's look at the sleeping accommodation, because obviously it's all on one layer.
Okay.
I'll show you the master.
Well, that's a shock. Even though the kitchen didn't match up size-wise, they're seeing the potential. Let's hope that continues with the rest of the house.
This is actually by far the biggest bedroom that we've shown you. Very nice and light again.
Yeah.
Dual aspect to it.
Dual aspect. It's got a light well here that brings in light from the outside.
Right, yeah.
That's
And
a
in
good
fact,
idea.
the present owners have to block it up on a full moon because it's too bright.
Too bright.
All right.
And it's got an ensuite. Just a shower and a toilet, but
It's a lovely bedroom. I like the shape and the size.
Yes, I like it. I mean, it's almost big enough to give it two uses. You could have a kind of office area there quite easily, I think.
yes, because you've got there are two bedrooms really. There's a sort of double, comfortable double, and then there's a small single which is being used as a study. So less bedrooms than the other properties we've shown you.
Yeah.
So yes, maybe if you put your desk here, you could liberate that study as a bedroom.
Yeah.
Anything you don't like so far?
No.
No, to be honest, we're looking forward to seeing the outside because we could get a feel for the outside, but we haven't seen it. But no, it's really, I could almost say it felt quite like home when we came in, didn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it did.
That is what we like to hear. Well, talking of the garden, let's go and look at it.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't want to speak too soon, but if the outside space meets with approval, we may have cracked it with the Mystery House.
Well, it's a lovely day it's turned out to be.
Yeah, it's
Sunshine
beautiful.
coming out.
It's a sign.
It is. It's a sign of home.
I have to buy it now.
Yeah.
And one more thing to point out is this beautiful landscape behind us. You've got a hill that goes up into a bluebell wood,
Yeah.
which is protected.
So that's a forever view then.
Gorgeous for the dogs.
Exactly. And you've got a path that takes you right there out there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
How much do you think it's on the market for?
It's smaller than some of the things we've looked at. And this is me wishful thinking a little bit as well. Maybe 325.
I think I'd put it on at 340.
Very good. It's so interesting how I think whether you like the property or not reflects on how
Yeah.
much you think it's worth.
Yeah.
This property is on the market for just a shade under 320.
Oh, excellent.
Okay,
That
that would
sounds
give
very
us room
good.
for manoeuvre if we wanted.
Well, why don't you have a look around inside?
Okay.
And I'll see you at the front.
Okay, thank you.
Lovely, thank you.
On the market for £319,950, our Mystery House has set the pulses racing, with 3 bedrooms, a dining room, a large living room, a conservatory for family gatherings, a large garden, all close to woodland ideal for walking the dogs.
I feel at home here. I think the property's nice. I know it's smaller than the other properties we looked at, but I think it suits the kind of lifestyle that we're moving towards. We asked you to find our forever house, if I can describe it that way, and this could be it.
I've moved in here already. It's very different to the house I've got. It's very different to what I thought I was looking for, but as soon as I walked through the door, it just felt like home. Once I knew where my Christmas tree was going, that's when I'd moved in for real. I can see where the Christmas tree goes, where the Christmas decoration goes, and I can see the family around it.
I think the view's wonderful.
Hello, guys.
Oh,
Are you taking in the Bluebell Woods?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to have to drag you away, I'm afraid,
Okay.
because we have one more station to go,
Okay,
and that's decision time.
all right.
Come with me.
Lovely, thank you.
We've served up 3 delightful properties for Marie and David, but this easterly county has much more on offer if the Norfolk coast is where your heart lies. The ever-popular coastal towns of Cromer and Sheringham are at a premium, but for the more modest budget, try Trimmingham, just along the coast, where this 3-bedroom semi-detached cottage with period features is on sale for £190,000. If your finances can stretch to a thatched roof, then head a mere 5 miles inland to Thorpe Market for this 6-bedroom Grade 2 listed Flint cottage. With bags of character features, it has a guide price of £375,000. And if you need a more quiet rural location but still within a stone's throw of the sea, this 5-bedroom period farmhouse in West Runton may be the answer, starting at £625,000. The glorious countryside along the Norfolk shoreline has been a tourist attraction for centuries. But no coastal county is truly complete without that other traditional seaside attraction, the pleasure pier. And Britain offers more piers than any other country. In the early 1900s, almost 100 piers stood around Britain, but sadly a little more than half remain now. Many of those stand as a testament to the achievements of Victorian engineering. I'm back at Cromer Pier, which was opened at the beginning of the 20th century and is now owned and maintained by North Norfolk District Council. And I'm meeting expert Peter Stibbins to discover more.
Morning to you.
It's
Welcome
illustrious.
to windy Cromer.
Peter, it's a little breezy here on the pier.
I should think it's blowing a good 8 this morning,
8?
maybe guessing a little bit more.
So tell me about, just describe what the pier would have been, would have looked like it looks now, or how would it have looked?
It was certainly very open. There was no intention to have slot machines. It was a promenading and walking pier.
So it was a purely pleasure pier, there was no function to it?
Absolutely. The tradition previously on the jetties that were here, that you went for a walk on the east cliff in the morning, on the west cliff in the afternoon, and that you came for your walk on the pier in the evening.
In Edwardian times, tourists generally came from the upper classes. They would arrive by train from London, bringing their servants with them, although they weren't allowed on the promenade. Pier owners began to stage amusements and concerts, but charged expensive entrance fees to keep the working classes away. Eventually, the introduction of bank holidays and affordable train travel meant piers became popular attractions for everyone to enjoy.
The pier was reserved for the townsfolk on Sundays, but the rest of the week it was your visitors you were after. Of course, we work the same way these days. We're delighted to have visitors here.
The pier's original bandstand was roofed in 1907, and a new floor was laid to accommodate the new craze of roller skating. Over the next 20 years, the building was transformed into a fully fledged theatre, where in 1922, a group called the Rolling Stones performed. That's the 1920s variety troupe, not the rock band.
The bandstand stood roughly in front of us, here, and you just had that windbreak around. But
So they had 8 years of going, oh God, it's freezing, and then finally...
Well,
they
for
succumbed.
about 4 years, I should think it was, and I should think it was pretty hard to keep your music in place on the bandstand. It's a peculiarity of England that we build these metal structures out into the sea. Very odd thing to do.
And were there any sort of, was it ever on the circuit for the real stars, or was it always a sort of...
We had one very funny favourite comedian of mine came on here last year and said, you play Cromer twice, once on the way up, once on the way down. I enjoyed myself the last time I was here.
I love what you were saying about this quirky English habit of building a rickety old Mayan structure over the sea and having some entertainment. So long may it continue. It's a great British tradition. The sun is finally shining here in Norfolk. Spring is in the air, and I think we did pretty well with the house hunt. It seems clear to me that the mystery house was the favourite for David and Marie, but the big question is what happens next? So let's find out. Marie and David, I need to check, first of all, whether I'm right. Is the mystery house your favourite?
It is, yes.
It certainly is, yes.
And that's interesting because in many ways the mystery house offered you less than some of the other houses. I mean, the first house certainly had 4 substantial bedrooms.
Yeah, I think it's, well, sizes and everything, as they say, but I think it's really about the feel of the house, and it just felt right. It felt like us.
Yeah, and the setting of the last house was really good. And those views up the hill, I can just see ourselves sitting there outside the house, having a cup of tea, and just the whole peace and tranquility of the setting was brilliant.
For me, when I went in, my heart was in there already. I'm not sure about David, but it felt like it was somewhere where we belonged, where in the second house, although the sea was there and that just lit us up, the house didn't give me quite the same feel.
You said the mystery house felt like home. Do you want it to become your home?
At this moment in time, yes. And we'd certainly like to go and see it again, but at this moment it does feel like something we'd make an offer on. I mean, we did like all 3 properties, in fairness, but our favourite by far is the mystery house, I think.
So fingers crossed that your house sells,
Yes.
and
Indeed
that
so.
we see you in the mystery house and on the high seas soon.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, I'll wave at you as you go past.
Thank you.
You see, not only does Escape to the Country always bring out the sunshine in every county, but we do sell people houses. This move really did mean a lot to David and Marie, and I think that we found them, with the mystery house, the perfect solution. Just the right budget, just the right location, just the right style. So join us next time for more Escape. Meanwhile, I'm going to leave you with some Norfolk. And the good news is Marie and David have accepted an offer on their current home and are returning to Norfolk for a second look at our mystery barn conversion. If you want to escape to the country in Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland or England and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.